hello. Been a while. If you've been around on my channel for a while, you'll know that summer's coming up, obviously, and I'm probably not gonna post. It's not like an inherent thing, oh, I take a break in the summer. It's on accident. I just realized for the past like 3 summers, I think, that I just didn't post for those summers. So I think it's gonna happen again. And I wanted to get out at least one more video. I have about 30 minutes to chat before somebody calls me. So I wanted to try and get out one more video and clean up my desk area, because I'm like cleaning up. I guess I was depressed recently and I didn't clean anything in my room. So it was a mess. It's still a mess, but it was a mess. Like, it was doing too much. So I've been cleaning all day. Anyway, what is this? A random receipt. Okay. Anyway, so what I'm actually going to be talking about is my most influential. What is that's trash? My most influential ex, and by that I mean the one that taught me the most about myself and about relationships and about mostly myself. So I'm gonna kind of speed run like the beginning of a relationship, and like it's not gonna be one of my longest stories. I don't think it needs to be. So we met. You know, we didn't fall in love, actually. We met, we went on a date. It didn't really work out because of the type of person I am. He ghosted me for a little bit, and then I never talked to him again. He did text me after a while, and then I just never spoke to him again because I didn't like being ghosted. I was wondering where this went. Sorry, I was wondering what I had done with this. Okay, I thought I just didn't have anymore, but it's literally right here. Anyway, so that happened, and then my friend, the friend that I mentioned in my last video, I believe, the worst best friend I've ever had. Yeah, her. She was having a Halloween party, and she was like, is it cool if I invite this person that you're not cool with? Because he's friends with my boyfriend. You know, my boyfriend doesn't really have a lot of friends. And I said, sure, why not? And so I thought I should invite this man, because we kind of like, we didn't reconcile, but like, I wanted to give him another chance, you know? And he said yeah, right? So I invited this man. He did show up. That's the same Halloween party where I told you, if you watched my last video, if you didn't watch my last video, you might be missing some context to this. My friend said that he could totally come over the next day and then try to lock him out. Yeah. So this is the same guy. So that happens, right? It's all like, he actually tells me that he loves me that day. He was also drunk, but like, I think that's funny, and I'll never forget that, apparently. And it was like a fun flirty thing, right? And then like, I was not in love with him, but that happens. And then he ends up finding the missing dog, which I don't know if I mentioned. I mean, that whole Halloween party in itself is another story. It's shorter, but it's a whole separate story. But anyway, he ends up finding a missing dog, and then I just thought that was really cool of him. And then we kind of talk a little bit, and we're cool, whatever. He actually used to work where I used to work, like right across the street or something like that, so to say. He worked real close by, and that's actually how we met. And so he would take me home some days, and so one day I went to go, he usually would come over to my job, and like, you know, we'd walked to his car together, but this time he didn't go, and it was like time for me to go, so I walked over to his job, and he wasn't there. So I was like, oh, okay. And so his coworker was like, oh, I think he's like talking with some people. I'm like, oh, yeah, totally. She's like, his phone is still here. And I was like, oh, not his phone, some other like stuff, like stuff that he had. She's like, his stuff is still here. I was like, okay, cool. And she's like, oh, you want me to give him a call? And I was like, yeah. And like, okay, already me being me, I was like, why do you have his number? They're coworkers. But in the moment, I was like, you have his number? And she was like, yeah, there's a girl here for you. And then she's like, she said he's coming, or he said he's coming. And I was like, okay, cool. And I walked out. And I called him and he didn't answer again. So I was like, cool. And then there's a lot of moments in this story where I thought, that's fate. That's literally fate. And maybe it was fate so that I could learn these lessons. Because I turn around, because I was like, okay. And I turn around and I see him. He didn't see me. I saw him, and then he walked in his job. And I was like, oh, okay. Fate. That had to have been fate, because if I hadn't turned around and saw him, I was going to leave. And so that was funny to me. And then he's like, oh, I'm so sorry, it's because I got caught up talking with some people. And I was like, yeah, she told me, like the coworker. And he was like, yeah, it was just because this and this and this happened, and this and this and this happened. And then this lady, and she was like, my husband thinks you want to sleep with me. And I was like, why are you telling me this? Why are you telling me this? And then he's like, yeah, but I was like, no, my girlfriend actually works over there. And he's like, I had to say you were my girlfriend, just so she wouldn't think anything. And I'm looking at him like, okay, what's the point of this story? And then he keeps going. I remember that's the part that I clocked out on, because I don't remember what the story was really, except that he kept saying, yeah, and then I said my girlfriend. He's like, I just had to say that. And like, he said that like 3 times. And so then he gets to the end of, I literally just waited for him to stop talking. Gets to the end of his story. And I was like, okay, so I'm not your girlfriend. And he said, like a bunch of other stuff. Because that was not a no, that was not a yes. So I just wasn't listening to it. And so then I was like, okay, so I'm not your girlfriend. And then he said, like more stuff, and I wasn't listening to it. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna give you a third try. This is insane. This is insane to think about now. Like, the person I am now wouldn't have done that. And so then he was like, so then he finishes his spiel, and I said, so I'm not your girlfriend. Because in a way I was like, what is this? Like, is it like a situationship? We just flirt sometimes. Like, what is this? And then he's like, he's driving, mind you. He's driving. And he was like, do you want to be my girlfriend? I said, yes. He's like, cool. Okay. Right. That's how we became boyfriend-girlfriend. Which is really funny, because he technically asked me to be his girlfriend. But I literally pushed him to. Which was probably a sign that this relationship was not meant to last. And so then we become boyfriend girlfriend, whatever. We're together, and then it was good for a little bit, and then his true personality shows, as it does after a while. And he's super busy. So busy he can't talk to me, right? And so I'm always like, okay, whatever, like, it's okay, it's whatever, like, it doesn't matter. Well, it did matter. It did matter, because he would do the thing that my ex-bestie would do. At the time, she was still my best friend. which was say he's gonna be there, usually at my house, by a certain time, and then not show up at that time. Eventually he would show up, so to his credit, he did slightly better than my ex-bestie at the time. Well, my bestie at the time. But I don't understand why I still, like, I think about it now and I'm like, why did I put up with that? I'm over here complaining about my best friend doing that to me, to him, and he's like, yeah, she sucks, I don't know why you're friends with her. But you're doing the same thing. You're doing the same thing. And on top of that, the reason why he would be late is for things he wouldn't even tell me. Like, he was a terrible communicator. Awful communicator. I remember one time I called him, and he's lucky I'm not psycho. He would I'm Latina. And so he would talk about how he always wanted to date a Latina, like he's gonna marry Latina, like da-da-da-da-da-da-da. I was, I don't know if I am now, but at the time, I definitely was probably one of the softest Latinas you could ever date. So, because I called him one time, because he was late by like an hour. And, he answered on his Bluetooth, on his car. And he's telling me, oh, I'm on my way, and da-da-da-da-da. I hear a lady. I hear a woman. I hear a girl in the background. And I said, okay. And then I hung up. So I waited until he got there. My hair's crazy, okay? I've been cleaning. I just threw it up. I just noticed that I have like this little... Anyway. Long-time viewers know. Don't mind it. So then he gets to my house, which we spent a lot of time at my house. Because he never had time to clean his apartment. So I have been there, so I know he had an apartment. But anyway, always at my house. And he would, so then he comes and he tells me da-da-da-da-da, and then he tells me about how his neighbor asked him to take her to go see what this new house she's gonna move into at night. If you don't know, when you get a new apartment, a new place, a new house, whatever, yes, it's like, I mean, look at it, and then when you're still deciding, you should pass by the street at night to see what the vibe is like. At night on a weekend, at night on a weekday, like, it's just good practice. So I totally understood that. And the funny thing is, I had heard his neighbor's voice before, and I have really good, in my, honestly, just not even in just my opinion, like, I just have really good vocal recognition, even over the phone. So I knew that's who it was. And she's like a grown lady. And so I knew that's who it was that was in his car. I was just waiting for him to tell me that he chose to help her and not tell me. And therefore, he chose her over me because he was making me wait for him when he, you know what I mean? I don't really care if you don't know what I mean on that one. On that one, I'm right. Okay, I'm not taking anything. That one, I'm right. So he does tell me whatever, right? And there's many times that I communicated to him, like, you need to communicate better. You need to tell me when you're going to be late and why. And da-da-da-da-da, you know? Well, then, he continues that pattern of behavior, and I just keep letting it slide. And I'm telling my mom because, who was I going to tell? I'm telling everybody. And she tells me, because what I tell her is this something you can live with? Or is this something you're going to break up about? Because she has issues with her boyfriend too. And you know, like, duh. And so I decided I'm just going to live with it. I lied to myself. I was never living with it. I was actively hating on this man. Actively hating on this man. I was actively hating on this man. And, like, I would get him, like, protection amulets and stuff. And they would break. And the funny thing about them breaking is they would break while I'm actively hating on him. Like, it's funny because I felt like I kept getting him amulets and stuff and protections from me actively hating on him. Like, it's so funny to me now. It's so crazy and ridiculous. But so then, is this trash? Yes. Why is so much trash here? Right, back to that. So that's only one instance. And then there was a time where he got super busy. I wouldn't see him for days. He wouldn't really talk to me. And then I would see him because he would kind of just pop up. And I would see him, and he would tell me about how he was with his friends and they went to this place and yada yada yada. And it really, really agitated me. At the time, I couldn't tell why. It really, really agitated me. But at the time, I was thinking, like, okay, I'm telling you I want to go out. I want to go see places. I want to, like, talk to you. I want to spend time with you. I want to go out and do things. And you tell me you don't have any time. But then you tell me about all these stories about you going out and do things. Sound familiar? Sound familiar? If you watched my last video, it sounds very, very familiar. That's what my bestie was doing to me at the time too. And he was supposed to be better. He was supposed to be better because he was hating on her for doing these things that he was doing. So that kept happening, and I kept getting upset about it, and my mom once again would be like, okay, well, is this something you're gonna break up about, or is this something you can live with? And I just kept telling myself I could live with it. And it was recently I had a revelation, okay? And I'll get to the revelation. But this was like years ago, okay? This ex is from years ago, but like I'm still processing a lot of it, I guess. And there were times when he would do things while intoxicated that really, really, I can't believe I just let slide. There was one time he called me a wench to my face. Like, he said wench as a joke, but it wasn't funny because I had just talked to somebody about, like, because they asked me, like, my cousin asked me, like, what's a wench? And so I told him what a wench was, and I was like, don't ever call a lady that. Like, even if you hate her, like, don't call her that. And then he said that straight to my face after he was there for that conversation. I should have smacked him in his mouth. Did I? No. I should have gotten violent. Did I? No. And he didn't understand, because I think he said it again too, and I'm like, I'm really so serious right now. Do not call me that. And he just didn't get it, even though I had just explained what a terrible word that is. So, like, there's a lot of instances too where I thought, no, okay, so I would tell him, like, these are my triggers. If you do this, I'm going to freak out. But I think he thought that I would only get violent and he would see a fiery Latina that he wanted so bad. No, I would start crying. I would start crying. And then that got worse because he started doing things. And he admitted this to me while we were still together. He started doing things to get me to cry. Why? Because he loved seeing me cry. I hate crying. And so, what? You're actively doing something to make me do something I hate. Why did I let these things slide? I actually recently understood, which I keep mentioning. And so there was another time actually where he pulled my hair. I think he was trying to be sexy or something, but it wasn't even like a for me type of deal. He pulled my hair because he wanted to pull my hair, but I think it was like something sensual or something. But it triggered me, and I started crying. And I was trying not to cry. Even my cousin looked me in my face, and he's like, "Are you okay?" Like, the face he made was like, "Are you okay?" But he didn't do anything. Which I don't blame him for, because I can imagine the situation. Not everybody's like me now, where I would be like, what are you doing? Why are you making her cry? Why are you making him cry? You're making them uncomfortable. Like, not everybody's like that, and I understand that, so I don't blame him for that. But I was just I was literally this was in my house too. I was just wandering around trying not to cry, and also trying to like block out what just happened to process it later, because if I processed it now, I was going to cry. And he was following me around being like, what's wrong, like what's wrong, like what's, like I don't understand. Like he didn't get it, which made it slightly worse, because there was a lot of moments when he didn't understand my reaction to something, and it made me feel like I was overreacting, like I was being extra, I was just being dramatic. There wasn't anything actually wrong with what happened. I was just being too much. I'm too sensitive. Which is funny. Because it doesn't matter if I'm too sensitive. What really got me, and so this used to be a thing where I wouldn't tell people things that would bother me, because at least I could give them the benefit of doubt that they didn't mean to hurt me, because they didn't know. But the thing about this ex is that I had told him about a lot of things that would bother me, and he did them intentionally. He actually admitted to doing them intentionally, not just to make me cry, but to upset me. That's abusive behavior. But in my head, I didn't see this man as abusive. I saw me as the abusive one. Which is funny. Not funny, haha. Funny, wow. Anyway, so I was with this man for way too long. I'll be honest, way too long. And the reason is, I know you've all been waiting. I really, and this is funny, because at the moment, in the moment, this is what I thought it was, is that I really wanted to be loved. My mom told me that nobody would ever, okay, she did, and I don't know if she said it in this words specifically, but this is how I remember the impact of it, is that nobody would love me the way that I am. I don't think she said that explicitly, but I do remember her making comments that that's how I interpreted it. That's how it recorded in memory, is that nobody will love me the way that I am, the way that I dress, the way that I act, the things that I'm sensitive about, like the way that I react to things. Nobody would love me like that. And I have a good relationship with my mom. But anyway, this isn't about her. So, I think that in that moment, I really thought I just wanted to be loved. But that wasn't really love now, was it? He's just saying he loves you, and he's showing, like, affection. But in my opinion, that's not love. Like, he wasn't loving me the way that I needed to be loved, which is fully. He didn't have time for a girlfriend. I forced having a girlfriend upon him, essentially. I think in that moment he thought, if I don't ask her now, I'm not gonna get a chance to in the future. Which was true. That was very accurate. But he should have chose the other path. But c'est la vie. So it's just so funny to think about this stuff now. But yeah, anyway. Also, I wanted to prove a point. I dated this man for a year, and then we had a situationship for a few months afterwards, which is funny. But I did date him for a year, and I would constantly argue with him over the same stuff, but slightly different. Like, I can't really think of any examples right now, but we would argue about essentially the same thing, which is like his lack of communication, his he hated a lot of things about me, and he told me this during one of our arguments. He did hate a lot of things about me, and I asked him, why did you never tell me? Like, there was a lot of things I said that bothered him, and I was like, why didn't you ever tell me? He's like, because why would I? And I was like, so I can correct that behavior. Like, and he's like, no. But the funny thing about that is that, what did he think of me telling him all these things that bother me about him, 2442, when he refused to do that for me? Like, he wouldn't tell me the things that I did that bothered him. He wouldn't tell me if something I said offended him. or made him feel some type of way. Like, he probably really did think I was dramatic. And there's another thing is, I don't want kids. I never want kids. If you just found this out about me, I don't know how I didn't mention it. I don't like kids. I never want kids. So if this is where you click off, you're a loser. But anyway, and he actually confessed to me one day that, because I think he really wanted to be a dad. When I met him, he really wanted to be a dad. And so I told him, like, I never want children. In the beginning, I told him, like, I never want children. I don't want to raise children. Like, I don't want children. Why? Like, this isn't going to work out then. And he said, no, it's fine. Come to find out later, it was never fine. He was hoping I would change my mind. And he told me that. He told me that, too. Like, why are you telling me these things? He told me that. That he just thought I would change my mind. You wasted your time. I learned a lot, but you wasted your time. And that one threw me. There was this one time though when I told him that I don't want to even like raise children. And so like I was like, if we ever did have a kid, like I would leave you for 18 years until they became an adult, and then I would come back, which is not true. I just kind of said that to like kind of drive it home, and he said, and that would be fine. What? What do you mean that would be fine? And I still say it with this man afterwards. Like, what do you mean? It drives me insane thinking about it now. And so that happened, right? And then later on, he didn't want kids anymore. He's like, you know what? You win. And I was like, what do you mean I win? He's like, I don't want kids. Because he was actually babysitting for his friend who had 2 toddlers. He was like, I don't want kids. And I was like, okay, we were never going to have kids. And he's like, no, like, I thought you were going to change your mind, but you're right. No. And I stayed after that. Like, what is wrong? What? And so I recently came to the revelation, right? I said I was going to say it earlier. I forgot. The reason why I stayed and still kept the situationship afterwards. Well, okay, the situationship was because I felt guilty. I felt guilty that he loved me and I did not love him. I realized this halfway through the relationship. Okay, I like halfway after saying I love you for the first time, which I don't even remember what that was like. I don't even remember. There was a time, actually, let me back up before I tell you about the revelation. There was 3 times he proposed to me. One time I said yes, which was the first time. And then I slept on it and I was like, actually, no, I don't want to get married to you. And my reasoning was I wanted a ring and I wanted a wedding. He wanted to get married at the courthouse. No ring, no wedding. So I said no. And it's because I'm laughing because of something that happens later on. And then multiple times when he was drunk, he's like, what are you doing Friday? You know, so we could get married at the courthouse. And I would tell him, we're not getting married at the courthouse. I want a wedding and I want a ring. I don't even have a ring. And the reason why, so after we broke up and we're still in a situationship, we ended up going to a fair. And they did like rings and jewelry engravings and lighter engravings and all this jazz. And he got a ring with my name on it, and I got a bracelet. He wanted me to get a ring, and I was like, oh no, my ring size is too small. And the guy's like, we sell that size. I was like, no. And so I got a bracelet, not even with his name on it, but with the nickname that I would call him. And I wonder if he still has that ring. 2929. And while we were walking away, he's like, you want this type of ring, huh? And I said, yeah. But let me tell you, through this situationship, I knew we were not gonna be together. I knew we were not gonna be together. And he also hated my hometown, which is well, I don't know why I paused, like I was gonna tell you where my hometown is, but anyway, he hates it, and I kind of, like, I love it. So he was like, he always wanted to leave and go somewhere else, and I said, no, I'm not going anywhere. And he was like so upset about the one time when he got drunk. We were actually arguing. We were just having a loud conversation, honestly. And he was like, I hate it here, and da-da-da. And I was like, why? In my head, before I could even say, why do you stay here? He's like, but you don't want to leave. You don't want to leave, so we stay here, and I hate it here, and I stay here because you don't want to leave. So yeah, I did feel a lot of guilt. A lot of guilt. For keeping him here, for keeping him trapped, and all this jazz. Like, he couldn't make his own fucking decisions. And, that was before the ring thing. This was when we were still dating, actually. And so, the reason why we even got into situationship, like, why I even allowed that to happen, is because he was going to leave. He was gonna leave. His mom said, basically, like, come back home, I need your help. And he asked me if he should go, and I said, yeah, well, like, I said, yeah, okay? My thing, eternally, was yes. Leave, because I will not leave you alone if you do not leave. And I wanted to leave him alone. But what I told him, and I still felt this true, is your mom is asking for your help. Your mom never asks for help. Like, you need to go help her. 31. And then later on, she ran it back and was like, actually, I don't need your help. And so he was like, well, she said she doesn't need my help anymore. And I was like, no, you still need to go. Obviously, she asked for your help. You still need to go. And so he left. So the reason why the situationship even happened was because of that. Because I knew it was going to end. And so I was kind of enjoying, like, the casualness of it. But I knew it was not forever. And I guess he still had the thought that it was going to be forever. He neglected me. I remember we got into this conversation because he's like, why don't we just get back together? Like, why don't we, like, that's it. Like, well, let's get back together. Like, and I was like, no. And he was like, why? And I was like, because you neglected me. And he was like, what? And he didn't ever want to have a conversation. Funny thing, 32, 23, is he never wanted to have a conversation about the things that I was feeling. And I think in his head, he was like, he didn't want to invalidate my feelings, but he didn't make me feel any better. Because, like that, right? Where he was like, he obviously didn't understand what I was talking about. And I think that happened a lot in our relationships when I would tell him how my feelings and what he did affected me, and I guess he just didn't understand, and he just pretended, okay, I get it, I'm not gonna do it again. And then he would do it again. So in that moment, he didn't even ask me how he neglected me, but he didn't talk to me. My main love language is gifts. He wouldn't get me things. Even like, damn, I'm clearly gonna have to put this together. Anyway, so not even like flowers. He got me flowers twice. They died instantly. Instantly. I don't know if you know about that, but flowers that are not given in love die incredibly fast. I bought myself flowers. They lasted 3 weeks. And I don't even like roses, like red roses. I don't like red roses. Like, I'll take them, but I don't like them. And both of the times he bought me flowers, they were red roses. Like, he didn't even try. He didn't even try. There are plenty of places where he could have gotten sheep flowers that would have been pretty, and I would have taken them, and I would have felt more loved. Why did I stay in this relationship? Actually, let me roll back to the ring, right? So, in that moment, I was like, this is not forever. I don't know why you're trying to get me a ring. I don't know why you got I told him not to get the ring, too. And he got a ring. I think he was trying to prove his devotion to himself. Because after he left, we talked for... I lie. We did not talk for a few weeks. I tried talking for a few weeks. And he would maybe respond here and there. And then I was supposed to go follow him like a couple months later, and I was like, actually, I can't swing that. Like, I didn't save enough money to do that. And he's like, okay, well, I'm not working right now, but we'll see if I can come down next month to come see you. You're not working? Then why do you not have any time to talk to me? And then I tried not messaging him first. And he never messaged me again. So if you're watching this, I doubt it. And I really hope you're not watching this. Because I don't like you anymore. I don't hate you. I don't wish you the best. And I hope you're suffering a little bit. Well, actually, I don't really care. I'm pretty apathetic to it. And that's funny. That's really funny to me. But yeah, this revelation of like, why did you stay in this relationship for so long? I wanted to prove that I could love somebody. I thought I was incapable of love. And this relationship did not help. It did not help because I thought I loved him. And by that I mean I tricked myself into thinking I loved him. And then quickly realized I didn't love him, but I kept saying I did. And I thought if I say it enough, it should become true. Did I waste my time? No. I learned a lot of lessons, clearly. I learned a lot of things that I will never let slide in another relationship. Namely, neglect. I was emotionally neglected as a child. In my opinion, I don't have like a lot of my memories on load. Like I can't evaluate all of them, and honestly I don't really want to go that far back and like figure it out. But being neglected in a relationship is really weird. It's really weird because I always thought I can be in a loveless marriage as long as I get gifts. And that might be true. That might be true. Because I was in this loveless, essentially, relationship. With affection here and there. But I never believed he loved me. And why didn't I believe he loved me? Because he did all these bad things. After I told him, don't do these bad things. Do these good things instead. And he didn't do any of the good things, really. There was one time, and it's really funny because he did take me out for my birthday. And it was a surprise. I did not know that he was going to pay for any of it. He didn't have money. And to be fair, I lived a nicer lifestyle than he did. Okay? I understand that I was more privileged than him. But he knew what I required. And he still stayed my boyfriend, you know? Like, that wasn't my fault. That was not my fault. I'm a pretty easy person. I used to say I'm a hard person to love. That is not true. That is not true at all. I am relatively easy to love. Because I tell you how to love me. I'll give you the book. Here's how to love me. Here's how to show me affection. Here's how to win my heart. And people just don't know how to read. Like, it's not my fault. So, yeah, I recently came to the... Because I was just thinking about it. I was like, why did I do that? Why did I let all of these things slide? I'm literally crying. Like, he would do things and I would be crying on the other side of the phone, just crying, and be like, why is he like this? He's just like that. He's like that because he's not for you. He's like that because you refused to learn and break up with him. And then I did break up with him later on, obviously. But then I kept him around. So what was the... I think it's funny. And, like, I came to the revelation last year that I actually never loved him. And I felt really sad about that. And my friends were like, no, you did love him. And I was like, no, genuinely? It's not that I fell out of love with him. I don't have any love for him. I never loved him. I just kept telling myself I loved him. I kept telling other people I loved him. But I didn't. I didn't love him. And I think that's really, really interesting. Because, I don't know. I think it's funny. I think it's really interesting. And I didn't love him because he wasn't someone worthy of my love. Affection, sure. I saw a post today that was like, I was like, something about, like, the universe put us together because he was meant to receive my love and I was meant to receive his lessons. Something like that. 4004. And I think I needed to hear that today because it kind of helped me understand. Because based on the story, another thing too is he would tell me about all these great things he did for other girls and why he'll never do them again or whatever. Why are you telling me all these things if you weren't going to do them for me? Why are you telling me that when your car broke down, you would walk miles to go see a girl that you liked? You're not even boyfriend, girlfriend. But you can't come see me when your car breaks down. And I'm not even as far as they were. Weird. Definitely weird. And I told him that. And I'm like, you're telling me all these great stories of yourself, but you won't do any of that for me. And he would stop too. He'd be like, that was, and because I think he didn't have an answer. I think his answer was bad. I think he had a bad answer and he didn't want to say it. And he didn't want to invalidate my feelings. But he didn't want to make me feel better either. 4114. So I think that based on the type of lover he used to be, he was deserving of the type of affection and love that I can provide. And I think because of the type of desperate, let's call it what it is, I was deserving of the lessons that he provided. Does that excuse what he did? Absolutely not. I used to be an on-site, like, that's how it has it in my head. If I saw him, like, if he pulled up to my house, if he pulled up to my job, if he stalked me on the internet and messaged me, emailed me, I would on-site beat him. I would chew him out. I'd cuss him out. I don't really feel that way anymore. I feel pretty apathetic. If he did show up, I would call him a loser to his face and walk away. Because that's what he would be. A loser. And honestly, I don't associate with losers. Not like that, no. To be such a deep-rooted loser. And I'm a different person now. After everything like this, I become a different person. And it's because I've become more solidified in my understandings of what I will accept. Basically that relationship was kind of an experiment, if you will. I was having breakdowns over that man. And not because he broke up with me, but because he couldn't treat me right. Because he couldn't treat me right. I was having breakdowns because I'm like, am I just too much? Am I just a bad person? Am I asking for too much? No. I was not asking for too much, and you're probably not asking for too much either. Honestly, you're not asking for too much. There's someone out there that absolutely will love you the way that you want to be loved. You might have to wait. You might have to go through a lot of people that won't. But I 100% believe that they're out there. You'll meet them. You might have to evolve as a person. You might have to have your heart broken. You might have to become jaded to the world. You might have to become more loving to the world. But they're there. And I fully believe that my guy is out there. I think actually soon. I really, really feel it actually. Like that it's gonna really be soon. And you guys will hear about it. You'll never see him. I'm not putting his face on this page. I don't even know if I'd post him like on personal pages. But yeah. It's insane to think about now. And it's funny because he's just like a character, this ex. He's just like a character when I tell stories. Like, he's just a character. Like, he's not even a person to me anymore. He's a character. Like, you could tell me he got hit by a truck and I'd be like, oh, wow, that's crazy. How? Like, that's wild. But I wouldn't cry about it. And that's how I know I don't have any love for him. I don't hate him. Like I said, I'm not wishing for him to get hit by a truck. It's just, oh wow, okay. Because there was times where I have paranoia. I don't know if I've ever mentioned that, but I have paranoia. And so when someone's not talking to me, like when I get ghosted, it's my brain is like, they hate you. Or they died. Like, they died? What do you mean? So when he went over there and he wasn't talking to me for days on end, I was like, oh my gosh, he died. I was literally searching up the obituaries, and I couldn't remember what town he went to, so I was just searching up the entire state. I was looking up the news reports and everything. And that was just a lot of stress and fear and negativity. That's probably what really got me to let him go the second time. The third time, actually. There's a lot more to this story, but I've already been talking for nearly an hour just about this. So I'm not gonna I'll probably mention him here and there. I don't even know if I gave him a name, but he's not gonna get one. It's just really crazy to think about now. The type of person I was then. Which, yeah, it was years ago, but I finally feel like I've grown from her. And we went, like, there wasn't always bad times. There were good times. Just not worth them times. I did go on a few trips that I wouldn't have gone on otherwise. But I would never again. 46. He would call me his twin flame, and I'd say, I think you're a soulmate, actually. And he's like, twin flames are deeper. And I was like, I think soulmates are deeper. But I didn't want him to be a twin flame, because mostly twin flames are lessons. You meet that person to learn something. I still think he was a soulmate. I think I was meant to meet him. And I think he failed. I think he failed to evolve. And that's why we didn't work out. So, like, the path we're on now, not meant to be together. Like, if, say he evolved, right? He evolved and he's ready to treat me the way I'm supposed to be treated. I don't care. I'm real apathetic to it. I don't care at all. That path is long diverted. It's too far to see, and I'm not trying to walk in an ominous direction. I'm on a different path. You know what I mean? Anyway, I hope you didn't relate to this story at all, because if you did, that's sad. But feel free to tell me all about how you did. Yeah, I think I'm pretty sure I said this in my last video. I'll probably be doing more story times, because I've been having a lot of revelations recently. I don't know what I'm doing. If you've been a long-time subscriber, long-time viewer, you know that I have no idea what I'm doing. I'll probably do fandom content at some point. I don't really know what I'm gonna do. If you see me somewhere else on the internet, no you didn't. I don't think I've ever mentioned that before, but I've had different eras, different lifetimes, and those are separate. Those are separate from me. Now. So if you like me, as I am, subscribe to the channel, and you'll see a lot more. I have a whole backlog, if you're new. I have a whole backlog. Obviously, you can see me evolve throughout the years. But yeah, I'm not making shifting content anymore, okay? I don't see it in my future. I don't shift anymore. I don't even look into videos anymore. I still believe it's real, okay? Fully believe it. Don't even go there. But, yeah, you're probably not gonna see any more of that. I think I might do fandom content. I just don't know what kind, to be honest. Suggestions? I don't know. Probably more rambles. I'm pretty good at rambling, apparently. Anyway, thank you for watching. And you'll see me in the next one. Bye.